I watched 4 disturbing movies, and I'm gonna rank them from what I thought the worst was to the best. I've already made 2 of these. I've watched, like an insert amount of disturbing films twice already, but I promised in the second video that if I got 10 likes, I'd make a part 2 or a part 3, I guess, fairly quickly. So here we are. I also want to do something a little bit different, so I tried picking movies that are supposedly disturbing psychologically, not necessarily violent, though some are definitely violent or have violent scenes. Also, I don't plan on making one of these. I watched an insert amount of disturbing films for a while after this, maybe a couple months, but I'm still, uploading twice a week. If you want to watch any of these movies, I will put where they are streaming in the description, though it will become outdated. If you watch this in like 5 months, the films might not be like they say down there. So, with that, let's get to the video. In fourth place, I put The Lodge. When a father is forced to abruptly depart for work, he leaves his children, Aiden and Mia, at their holiday home in the care of his new girlfriend Grace. Isolated and alone, a blizzard traps them inside the lodge as terrifying events summon specters from Grace's dark past. While I don't think this film is awful, I can't say I really enjoyed it. Honestly, I found most of this film to be, and this sounds like a cheap out answer, but boring. Like I just didn't find this film very entertaining. Like most of the time I was just bored. I will say though, like the ending I thought was pretty good. I'm also not opposed to like slow burns, and this feels like a slow burn. For example, one of my favorite horror movies, Speak No Evil from 2024, is probably considered a slow burn, but it was able to keep me interested in the story. And I can't really say the same about The Lodge. Like while the concept itself could be used interestingly for whatever reason, and like I'm not fully sure why, this film just couldn't keep me interested. Also, when it comes to being disturbing, I wasn't personally very disturbed. There were 1 or 2 scenes that I found somewhat disturbing. This film also kind of reminds me of Hereditary with its use of a dollhouse and a couple other elements that I can't really get into without spoiling. I will say though, when I was researching this film afterwards, I found that pretty interesting, and this film definitely has depth to it. Okay, in third place, I put Eden Lake. When a young couple goes to a remote wooded lake for a romantic getaway, their quiet weekend is shattered by an aggressive group of local kids. Rowdiness quickly turns into rage as the teens terrorize the couple in unimaginable ways, and the weekend outing becomes a bloody battle for survival. Okay, I really wanted to like this film, but I can't say I necessarily did. Like Lodge, I found this film pretty boring, particularly during the running scenes and some of the torture scenes. There were a couple of scenes that I did find decently disturbing. Like I enjoyed the ending a bit. I think I was eating during this film, so I don't know if that affected my rating. I couldn't keep my eyes at the computer constantly. I also found it pretty interesting to see how each teenager reacts to the situation and how they treat each other. Also, I swear the couple made out way too much in this film. I mean, like I know they love each other, but they don't have to like make out every 2 seconds. Okay, in second place, I put We Need to Talk About Kevin. After her son Kevin commits a horrific act, troubled mother Ava reflects on her complicated relationship with her disturbed son as he grows from a toddler into a teenager. This is another film I have mixed thoughts on. It's definitely a film that, makes me think a lot about things like, how much can someone change the behavior of their children pertaining specifically to like concerning behavior, and like what are things that the parents could have done better. And to be honest, I don't have answers to these questions. They're just things that I thought of when I was watching this. I personally didn't find this film that disturbing, which I mean kind of sounds insane maybe for other people who've seen this film, but I definitely can see why many people find it disturbing. It's interesting though to see like this nurture versus nature element that they use, and also watching the relationship between the mother and the son. And like I said, I just wasn't fully invested in this film, but I don't think it's a bad film. And at first place, I put The Plague, a socially awkward tween endures the ruthless hierarchy at a water polo camp. His anxiety spirals into psychological turmoil over the summer. So I don't think I would consider this film a masterpiece, but I do think it's a good watch, and I would actually recommend everyone to watch this film at least once, especially teenagers. This film does a really good job on showing, the feelings of needing or wanting to fit in, but also not wanting to bend your morals. I also think this film has a really interesting look into bullying. I think this is a film that can actually have an impact on someone. Like, it made me question, how do I treat others, especially online? I will say, I don't know how I feel completely about the ending of this film. I think I appreciate the ending. I just don't know how I feel completely about it. For the most part, I didn't find this film that disturbing. There was at least one, like, pretty decently disturbing scene, towards the end. If you know, you know. This film feels, honestly, almost real. Like we've all seen situations similar to this. Probably not as severe, but we've seen that, especially like in school and probably in the workplace. I do think there are some things I would do differently in the direction of this film. Maybe it's because it's not exactly what I expected, but I still think it's a good film that you should check out. Okay, so those are my spoiler-free thoughts. I would love to know your opinion on each of these films. Have you seen them? And with that, bye.